Welcome to my video podcast where I share my making adventures with a variety of crafty things. Mostly right now I think it's knitting. I live in the rural Midwest with my husband and our 3 daughters. Today is May 10th, 2026. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as my making adventure. Right, I'm really excited to be back to share another regular podcast episode with you. I have a few finished objects to talk about that I don't have with me because I've already gifted them. I'd hoped to record like 2 weeks previously, but it just didn't work out. So that's okay. This is what you're gonna get. There's a lot to share about and I'm really excited to show you. Right, I just wanted to pop in quick and show you a finished object. These are my sister's birthday socks. I need to get them in the mail to her. I did a cute little Purl bump chevron at the cuff. I think I did 15 rounds of ribbing, and it's like half twisted rib, and then like 7 rounds of stockinette, the little Purl bump, and then 7 more rounds of stockinette. And then a heel flap and gusset. This is a 56 stitch sock on a US 0 magic loop. So I did whatever the typical heel flap for that would be.
Okay, then we'll
maybe like 14 repeats. And then I knit it to approximately a women's 9 shoe size. A little bit shorter because I like my socks to be tight. And I assume she does too. So, and I did shorties because it's spring. So I thought a little bit shorter of an ankle-ish sock. It's probably taller than an, I don't know, would you call that an ankle? Or a crew sock? Is that what they're called? They're not all the way. Is crew all the way tall? I don't know. A little bit of a shorter sock because of it being spring. These took 46 grams. These weigh 46 grams now. So just under half a skein of our Concord grape yarn for her socks. So I'm really pleased with how they came out. I hope that they fit her, but it's the thought that counts, hopefully. Hopefully, even if they don't fit, I'm gonna see her this summer. So I'll tell her if they don't fit to bring them back and I'll make them longer. That won't be hard at all. I can probably do it while she's visiting. So yeah, I'll maybe include a note with that because her feet could have grown since I started these. I don't remember when I cast them on, but I finished them on April 15th, the same day that I started the Gnome. So, ta-da! The other thing that I finished that I don't have with me, I have like a unprofessional photo of. I have a picture that I used for the make along like chatter. And so that is the Very Cozy Gnome make along that I made the gnome from that make along, which is a pattern by Schira. It was a mystery knit along. There we go. It was a mystery knit along that I did. And I joined along Shauna and Neil in their like mystery knit along Telegram group. And before I gifted the gnome, I only took 1 picture of it to share in the group. I had intended on taking more, but that week ended up being a lot busier than I expected. And so then it was like time to gift it. And I just did. I didn't think about it. I just had to wrap it up. I made that for my daughter's like co-op teacher for our homeschool group. If I hadn't, I didn't really enjoy the process. I knit it on fingering weight cotton yarn that I generally enjoy working with, but because you had to knit it at a tight gauge and because it was pretty fiddly, I don't know that I will knit another gnome. Like, it's just not for me. The pattern was great. There were tutorials to help you. The bummer though was that the videos would show up on my YouTube feed before I knit the pattern, and the videos like gave away the next step of the pattern, like even just the thumbnail of the video. But I mean, that's my first mystery knit along. That wasn't necessarily the important part to me, but I was knitting the gnome with the intention of giving it away. So I persevered. Otherwise I probably would have quit early. I did feel like during the first few clues, there's plenty of time, but I just had very limited knitting time that week. And during the last few clues, like that was all I was working on, was the gnome. And that's not really what I wanted to be knitting. But I was glad to finish it and gift it away. And it was cute and it stood up, and yeah, it was kind of a silly little gift that I made. It took very little yarn. I think Shauna actually recorded the grams of yarn for each, and I did not for each colorway. But it took very little yarn. And yeah, turned out pretty cute. My big finished object to share, I really focused on as soon as I finished the gnome. And that is the Finest Kind sweater that I knit for my husband. Ta-da! So this was a big challenge for me. This is the Finest Kind by Alicia Plummer, and I knit it out of Lion Brand Fisherman wool in the brown color. There's not a ton of options for colors from that brand. And I knit it on the recommended needles. However, my gauge was not accurate. So I actually like cast on for the recommended size. I think I had knit, you know, like the bottom ribbing, because it's knit bottom up, which is my first time ever doing that. I probably knit like 3 inches into the pattern on the bottom, and I blocked it, and my husband was like, this is too big. I don't want it that big. So I ripped it all out and I knit it. I started over knitting a size down. I didn't adjust my needles though, and maybe I should have, because I was very off gauge, especially my row gauge was very far off. I don't even know, because I didn't even really check, but I just know that it was off. And now, like when he wears it, just mostly at the shoulder where the sweater is like pulling down, the fabric gaps, and you can see like his undershirt through it. So that's unfortunate. However, I did finish it. It fits him wonderfully and it looks nice. So the issue with my row gauge meant that I did have to make adjustments when the sweater split for front and back. It's like knit this many rows, and if I had knit that many rows, the armhole depth would have been like 2 inches deeper than it is, and it's already plenty deep for him. So I had to adjust that on both the front and the back, which the front is like a left and right part, and the back is just the back part. Another thing that I struggled with is like the pattern calls for using Japanese short rows, which I'd never done before. And you're doing them both on the right and the wrong side, and you're doing them both on purl and knit stitches. And like the pattern didn't have a lot of guidance. It just said like, watch this video for how to do a Japanese short row. And I could have used a little more hand holding throughout the pattern. The same with any of the decreases or the short rows in the sleeve. It was like, try to maintain the pattern as best as you can. And I could have used some more hand holding. I would have liked some more hand holding. Probably most other people don't. But like doing my first bottom up sweater with a pattern, and I mean, it's a really simple pattern, but then knitting like short rows on the sleeve and trying to anticipate how that's gonna work out. The Japanese short row, you know, you're like slipping a stitch, you're doing this, and my brain was just having trouble processing everything that was going to come within this stitch pattern. And that was stressful. But once I had done the front and the back and the shoulder shaping, it was really easy to just knit the rest of the sleeve. I did knit this cuff like as recommended, which is super long in my mind. But my husband loves the way that it fits. He put it on and he was like, this fits exactly how I want it to fit. I will take it in 4 more colors. And I said, unfortunately for you, this yarn does not come in 4 more colors. He's like, I'll take blue and I'll take gray. And I was like, nope, those aren't options. So, but yeah, it fits really well. He loves the length. He loves the way it fits around his neck. The sleeve length is good. The overall fit is good. He's looking forward to wearing it in the fall. The yarn is non-superwash and it is a little bit itchier for him. He's always going to wear an undershirt under it. But I don't think that the itchiness with an undershirt will like prevent him from wanting to wear it. Probably feels itchier now too, that it's like mid-May and so it's warmer. So yeah, I don't think I have any other thoughts on that. Oh, I do actually. I think that the sleeve decreases were written opposite of how they normally are in a sleeve. Like I'm not even remembering now, but like, oh yes. So I knit my sleeves on magic loop, and usually like at the beginning of round, I feel like usually you do a knit 2 together, and then at the end of the round, usually it's a slip knit. But this pattern was written opposite, and I don't know if that like was to help maintain like the pattern of the sleeve or to like emphasize this traveling. I'm curious. I don't have answers, but there's like this 2 column knit channel that goes through the underarm of the sleeve and down the sides of the sweater. So I don't know if switching up the way those decreases were done helped that pop better, because it certainly looks nice. It just felt backwards to me. So if anybody has an opinion on that, let me know. I did follow the pattern even though it felt backwards. Yeah, I would not knit this for me because if I were to knit this for me, I would not knit the ribbing the way it's called for. I don't love this rolled stockinette bind off. I would do regular ribbing and bind off with like a sewn bind off. Or maybe like make a double folded, like a folded collar. I would not do it at the sleeves. I would not do it at the bottom. I don't love it. But I like to follow a pattern the way it's written the first time. So this was a 12 Cast Ons project this year. I cast it on day 7, but like I mentioned, I had to frog it and recast it on in February. But then I ended up only knitting the 3rd size, and this used, I can't believe this used just under 500 grams of yarn. I purchased 4 balls of the Fisherman's Wool, which come in 227 gram skeins. So I purchased 900 grams of this yarn and I used just under 500 grams, which means like 400 grams left, or like 375 or something. That's a lot of yarn left. I'm not sure. I had initially thought there's a junior size for this pattern now, like for kids. I thought that I would knit my daughter's sweaters that match my husband, but the knitting process was stressful, like the shoulder, like the front and back and sleeves, like I mentioned. So I'm not sure that I'm ready to jump in and knit them for my daughters. But if I do, I have the yarn. But then the question is, do I go down a needle size like I wish I had? I wouldn't really want to go much more than 1 needle size because I don't enjoy like knitting when the gauge is tight and stressful on my hands. So I don't know, we'll see how I feel in the fall. But now that yarn is just like sitting, taking up space. And I don't have a plan for it, but it'll be okay. It just makes it hard to buy more yarn when you have a lot of yarn taking up a lot of space. And I'd like to buy more yarn. I'll tell you at the end what I'm going to cast on now that this is bound off and all the ends are woven in. But first, we'll talk about the whips I already have going, one of which I have decided to frog and be done with. And that is the 4 Points blanket. I've been using Lion Brand Thick and Chunky, I think, or Thick and Quick yarn. This is yarn I purchased when I was like first getting back into crocheting, and I was intending to make a sweater with it. I did. It was a laughable thing. I think I talked about it on my very first podcast episode. I frogged the crocheted sweater, and this year for 12 Cast Ons, I cast on the 4 Points blanket, which is a pattern by Purl Soho. It's a beautiful pattern. It's intended for fingering weight yarn, but I had adjusted it for this yarn that I had by casting on way fewer stitches than the pattern calls for. But I didn't love working with the yarn when I was crocheting it, and I didn't love working with the yarn when I was knitting it. And I haven't been looking forward to picking the project back up. I finished the first of 4 triangles for the pattern. I even figured out a way to only make 2 triangles for the pattern and seam them together and make a blanket from there. I've talked about that previously. But I have decided to frog it and donate the yarn locally within my community. I think I can post it like on Marketplace and somebody will come pick it up. Or I can go to like the crochet thing at the library and give it to somebody there if anybody wants it. I am not interested in using it, and giving it away will take that weight off of me and open up my energy for projects that I really do want to work on. So that's the update on that. You're not going to see anything more of it. I'm moving on. And that's one of the things that I do enjoy about the 12 Cast Ons Make Along is things that I'd been thinking of and planning to do got done, or in this case, taught me that I didn't have any interest in doing them. So I think I have 2 more 12 Cast Ons projects going. One of them is the next one I'm going to show you about, and the other is a stocking, and I think I'll try to finish that like for Christmas in July. So I'm not planning on touching that until July, and it's only May now. All right, my other whip that is big is the Storm Sweater that I'm knitting for myself by Petite Knit. And I have made a little bit more progress. I'm working on the body. Here it is. I had been working on the body last time as well. I finished, let me find my progress keeper. So I finished the pattern repeat I have been on and started the next section of the pattern. A little bit over 1 inch of knitting since last time on the body. My plan is to knit the rest of the chart that I'm on right now, and then knit the purl bump ridge rows that like transition, and then pick up and knit the collar and the sleeves before coming back to finish the body. This is just a big process for me, mostly because of all the yarn prep I've done. Oh, I also plan to block it before I decide how to finish the body. So I'll probably knit one of the sleeves like almost all the way and the collar and then block it. And that'll give me an idea on the sleeve length and a better idea on the body length, because I don't know if I'm going to get more length or not. Right now, I think only the back panel has been blocked. And it lays so nice where it was blocked. So I'm really looking forward to blocking the rest of it, but I don't want to have to like stop and block it a million times. So this is my big like push right now. We'll be working on this. Hopefully, this probably won't be my next FO, but hopefully it'll be my next big finished object. And I've been pushing myself both to get all of the yarn ready to use and to keep progressing the sweater. And since the finest kind, I had really focused on the finest kind almost entirely. I think I finished the knitting on it on Friday. Today's Sunday, so 2 days ago. Because I blocked it Friday night and I wove in all the ends yesterday. My husband was able to wear it to church this morning. We have some cooler mornings, but it's been like 70s degrees in the evenings now. Last week would have been like the perfect week for him to wear it, but this week's gonna be too hot. I think we're even gonna get some 80s. So anyway, storm sweater is coming along. There's still a lot of progress, but hopefully by next time I'll have even more progress to show you. It's hard to keep working on this because yes, it's gonna be a fall wear, but it's still worth it because it will be ready for me in the fall when I finish it. I need to put some needle stoppers on or some stitch stoppers on. All right, my other work in progress that I'm working on right now is a pair of socks. I am calling these my color tip socks because I'm using the yarn that's left over from my color tip tee to knit a pair of socks. Oh, and this bag is from Emily of Woldenberg. Isn't it so cute? Ah! And she picked out cute little farm animals for me. Horses and chickens, and I'm sure she had the fabric, but she chose something she had that is perfect for me. And I really like using it. So these socks are knit with a mini skein set from Forbidden Fiber Arts that I use to make my color tip tee, which, pausing this project update, I wore my color tip tee yesterday. The high was like mid to upper 70s and I wore it all day long. We walked in the morning, like from like 9:30 to 11:30. We walked like 3 miles in the shade / sun. We ran some errands and then we were home for the afternoon and we went for another walk in the evening. And I wore it all day. And it was the most active day I've had by my step count in a long, long time. And it didn't bother me at all. I wasn't too hot. It doesn't stink and smell sweaty. It was great. And it's superwash merino and nylon. Just regular sock yarn that I knit that out of in a fingering weight. I know it's a pain to knit fingering weight t-shirts, but if I can wear them on 70-degree days, I mean, come on. As I was like putting my kids to bed and I didn't want to get it dirty, I switched into just like a regular t-shirt from Walmart, and that shirt got smelly from sweat. And the merino was not. So that was really nice because it definitely, you know, could have been yucky, but it was perfect for that kind of day. Now, I will give the caveat that it wasn't humid yesterday. We get a lot of humidity in the summer and fall and sometimes in the spring, but this spring it hasn't been super humid. So I can enjoy wearing my hand knit t-shirts still. And we'll see how hot this summer is. Sometimes our summers are like weeks of 100-degree plus weather. Sometimes our summers are like upper 80s with a week of 90 or more. Sometimes they're really, really humid and sometimes they're not so bad. So we'll see how the summer goes and how long into the summer, how much of the summer I can still enjoy wearing my hand knit t-shirts. Back to the socks. So the mini skein set is from Forbidden Fiber Arts and I won it like as a prize for a knit along. And I had used it to knit the color tip tee, and then I used the leftovers to knit these socks. The main skein is a Cascade Heritage in this gray. And so here is the first sock finished. And this colorway is the only one I didn't include in my t-shirt. I had been planning to include it as the bottom ribbing, but then decided not to change color at my waist / hips. So I'm doing that for the cuff and the toe to make the most out of the yarn that I had. I'm using the purple for the heels on both of them. And then I striped, here's the second sock. I just started the gusset. I striped the legs differently. So in the color tip tee, one of my sleeves is knit with these yarns and the other sleeve is knit with those yarns. So I striped the legs of the socks to kind of match the tee. I would probably, if I were to make a whole outfit out of it, I would wear the socks opposite of how it is on the t-shirt. I had been thinking I would stripe the leg and then stripe the foot. Eunice from Therapy by Craft has done that a lot. And I love the way it looks. But I was panicking about where to start the striping so that it would end the right way I wanted it to. And I decided that it wasn't worth the stress, that I could just do one sock this way and one sock this way and enjoy that process. So I've been loving these. I cast these on, so the Gnome was April 15th, which I think, is that a Wednesday? I should look at a calendar. I cast these, oh, I think I have it on my Ravelry project page. I cast these on, I said the 18th, like the weekend that followed the Gnome. And I have just been plugging away. And I'm excited to have these. I'm not gonna wear them till the fall either, but it's my portable project that I can bring with me. And I've been working through the special hand-dyed yarn so that I can use it for my next project, which I will show you. So those are my color tip socks. They should be finished before I know it. And then when I finish with the hand-dyed yarn in those socks, I've been casting on yarn cozies. I followed like a free pattern for yarn cozies. Probably gonna have to pause here. So when I finished the first sock and I decided I was done with that pink and red yarn, I decided to cast on a yarn cozy. I followed a free pattern. It will be linked through my Ravelry. And I knew I wanted 3 yarn cozies for my next project. So I cast one on, and I think the pattern called for a 2.5, like a 3mm needle, but I used a US 2. I have a Chow like magic loop situation with that size, and I'm a loose knitter, so I automatically just sized down. But I added a few extra rows to the body of the yarn cozy because somebody I watched recently made a yarn cozy that was like too small for their yarn ball. I don't know that I would have needed to add the extra rounds. I really think I only added 3 to 4, so it didn't make a huge difference. But obviously the yarn cozy is covering the yarn enough. Both of these I've made 2 now. So this is the like pink sleeve one. And this is one when I finished the stripes on my second sock, I cast on another one. This is the yellow green one. And now I'm done with the purple yarn for my sock, so I can cast on a third one. But I don't think I'm gonna finish it until I finish the sock because I'll need the gray and white to finish it. I've used up entirely the top color on the yarn cozy, and then I just switched into the second color. And I have a little bit of each of these second colors left. I used way more of the top colors on the sleeves of my t-shirt, so I had way less of that yarn to start with. But I needed 3. So I'm calling this project a whip because I don't have a third one yet. But I kind of have to finish that sock to knit a third one. So I thought I might just go through my fingering weight yarn and pick out something to make the third one for now. I have a few purples I could probably just use up. And make a third one. These take, the pattern said 10 grams, but they're taking me like 13 grams of yarn. And I don't think that's only because I knit 3 extra rounds. So I would say a buffer of a little more than 10 grams. Just knit a third one with different yarn so I can cast on, because this yarn is for the Relax Tee, which is a pattern by Aimee Sher. It was really popular last year or the year before when she first released it, and I've been scheming to make it since then. I have this. Oh, I'm gonna get my yarn labels. I have the yarn caked up. Have I purchased the pattern? No. Do I have a plan for it? Yes. So this yarn that's not in a yarn cozy is by Pearls and Pines, which is from my hometown in Bemidji, Minnesota. The dyer owns a yarn shop and she dyes yarn. This is called Coffee House. I think she's part of a YouTube channel too. I don't remember what it's called, but if I think of it, I will link it down below. It's like 2 of them that do it. Fiber Loons. And one of the 2 is the dyer for this. Angela, I believe is her name. And this yarn is from Sock Obsession Yarns. And I received it as a gift from Jenny Lee of Wyoming Knits last year as part of her Scrappy Make-Along. And this was the yarn I had first. And I said, I'm gonna choose 2 other colors that coordinate well enough with this that I can make a t-shirt out of them. And I specifically have the relaxed tee in mind. This is the darkest of the 3 colors, and I'm gonna use this for the purl bumps. So probably knit 1 row, purl bump, knit 1 or 2 rows, or maybe knit 2 rows, purl bump, knit 2 rows in the relaxed tee. And then in between the purl bumps, I will stripe these other 2 colors. This is a Malabrigo yarn, Ultimate Sock, and the colorway is Rosalinda, and it's like a pinky. So this one is more of like a light brown, but it has pink undertones, and this one is pink with a little bit of like creamy and grayer undertones. So these 2 with a darker stripe in between. That's my plan. I'll figure it out more as I actually knit it. But I've got the yarn caked up. I have to get this video posted, and then I'm gonna buy the pattern and cast on. That was my plan, was when I finished one of my sweaters, I would cast this on next. And then when I finish my other sweater, I have a plan for what I'll cast on after that. So that's my motivation right now, is finish something so that you can cast on the other things. Because my knitting, I don't know, is it a to-do list? My to make list is always so long for my knitting. This, by the way, this yarn cozy pattern was supposed to be ribbed, and I just, both times I was like, I'm gonna rib this one, and I did not. I did the little ribbing at the top, and then you're supposed to change the ribbing pattern, and I just automatically knit stuck in it. So it takes me no time at all to whip up one of these little yarn cozies. So maybe what I'll do this afternoon is whip up a 3rd one instead of casting on. That would be okay. That would be sad though. I also have to, figure out my needles and stuff, but I may not gauge swatch because each of those yarns is going to be a little bit different anyway. But I'll have to see how it works out together. I think that's all. Okay, that wasn't actually all. I am still having trouble with my sewing machine. So this is like another call for help. I took it apart as best as I could. I oiled it. I cleaned under like the presser foot, under the presser foot plate. Is that what it would be called? Like I scrubbed it out with a toothbrush because there was a lot of like dust accumulated there. I oiled it, and it was I changed the needle, I changed the thread and the bobbin. It was no longer breaking the thread, but it is still tangling on the underside of the fabric. So I took a little video, and I'm gonna insert that here. And if you have any ideas for other things I could try, I would love to hear them. Otherwise, I think this week I'm going to try borrowing a sewing machine from my library. I'm not sure how long I can check one out for, but my friend did tell me that I think I can check them out and bring it home and use it. So, because we really want to do some sewing this week, if at all possible. My daughter's dress is still sitting right there, waiting to be worked on. I'd like to make some little keychains, some zipper pouches, maybe some project bags. I'm feeling inspired to sew. So I just kind of want to get working on it. I need to be using up some of my fabric. I still have a full extra box that doesn't fit on the shelf. So, and sad news, my pink Hinterland dress tore, like the fabric is thin and it tore. So, yeah, I would love my sewing machine to be working again. However, maybe I should try one from the library if I can't get it back working. It is a little sad. I don't know if I mentioned this before. The sewing machine was my graduation gift for my mom. So even if I can like check out one from the library, you know, eventually I'd like to have mine working again. But we shall see. Let me know if you have any advice. Thanks. Bye. And happy making. God bless.